What do you think about going over to Minnesota? We've got Cameron. He him wants to talk to us about some stuff in the Bible. How are you, Cameron?
Pretty good. Yourself?
No, pretty good. You're just
Doing
hanging
well.
with myself and Captain Dadpool. What do you think? What do you think about the Bible? What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so like I was looking at the question on the chat about saying is it historically correct?
Uh-huh.
And the thing is I don't believe it is, and at the same time I feel like there might be some things in there that were, but like it's not like you know the the way they portray it. Like how do I go about showing people who believe that every word of it is literally correct? Like what can I do to show them the logical fallacies, or to show them that it wasn't historically correct? Like say for example, Noah's flood or something like that.
Mhm.
Because
Well,
like my grandma thinks that Noah's flood was absolutely like
sure.
a total thing, and like I just the best way to argue that,
Yeah,
I guess.
this is
Interesting.
definitely in Dadpool's wheelhouse. So
Yeah.
I will pass it over to you, man. What do you think? What are some good arguments against this?
What I like to say specifically about Noah's Ark and everything is like you can get into the science, absolutely. If you have the tools to do that, you can do that. Not everybody's going to listen to you because they have this whole, the old Earth creationism that the Earth was created in a mature state, so it just looks like there are different, tectonic levels, but it's not actually. Anyway,
Oh, so
what I
like
like to
the
tell
Earth
people,
was created 5 minutes ago, kind of thing.
Uh,
yeah, right. Like God created the Earth to look mature. Uh, to test our faith. Or, I've heard him say crazy things like that before. What I like to tell him is even if there is an ark that's discovered in the middle of a desert somewhere, that's not evidence that the account of Noah's Ark. By the way, sorry if y'all hear my kids screaming in the background. That's not evidence of Noah's Ark or the flood narrative. That's evidence that someone built a boat one time.
mm,
That's all that's evidence for. There are plenty of landmarks that have all these myths that are written about them. There's like Sodom and Gomorrah is another one. The people found sulfur deposits
Yeah. That's
at
right.
the site
That's
that's
right. That's right.
probably Sodom and
Sorry.
Gomorrah,
I don't
right?
mean to
But
interrupt
what?
you there, but I had
Yeah,
I had somebody last night about sending me like these videos about Sodom and Gomorrah and them being all true and stuff, and I was like, how do I counter this? Like,
yeah. What happens is like you have these ancient people that are traveling, looking for new places, to plant themselves, and they come upon ruins, and they don't know what happened. There's no historical
mhm.
record. There's no one to tell them, so they make up a story about it. They find these sulfur stones. They know what sulfur is back then. They're like, oh. God, they must have done something really bad. So
Mm.
God rained sulfur down and killed them all. That's how that works. That's how ancient myths like that develop. Um,
Yeah,
so you
and
could try that way.
for me, what I often try to do is I try to go seek out the people who have spent their lives, studying different things like this. I can mention one person, Dr. Francesca Stavrakopoulou
Oh, she's
has,
fantastic.
yeah, long name, but an absolutely
Francesca, what was that? Francesca, what?
Stavrakopoulou. If you start trying to spell it,
Yeah,
it's the
Brock.
only name that comes up. But
She wrote a book called An Anatomy of God,
yes, yes.
and it's
I love that. There's so many good things in there. And
such a good book.
she spent years, decades, freaking decades studying this stuff. And when you go and listen to her talk about the archaeological digs that have been done, that a lot of apologists or hardcore fundamentalists worldwide want to point to, she just goes point by point by point, breaking it down, and it kind of depends on who you're having the conversation with and what your goal is for the conversation, right? Like maybe in
Yeah.
this format, maybe it would be helpful, better to for me to be able to go point by point by point. They say, what about the chariot wheels in the Red Sea? And then I go, haha, we never found those. And then they say, oh, what about Noah's Ark? And then I go, haha, it's just a rock. Like maybe, right? But maybe that isn't.
There's that one dude who made the fake Noah's Ark stuff with like teriyaki sauce and like some weird wood and all that.
Yeah. There's a lot of, and I think
Ron Wyatt's his name.
Yeah, he's absolutely a fraudster. I think a lot of times in casual conversations, what can be really beneficial is just demonstrating to people that there are potentially other options. Not to say that, hey, you have to accept this right out, right? But if somebody has lived in a space where every single time they've ever been told something about this, they just flat out believe it. So years after I had stepped away from believing in God and stopped going to church and stuff, I still had some things in my head that I thought were super true because people had confidently told me them that they proved the Bible correct. So like there was this whole thing about like Mount St. Helens erupting and like the ash on the trees and like dating it, and that like totally disproved carbon dating or something like that. And then, literally 4 or 5 years goes by. I didn't even realize I still thought this. And then I'm watching this video of this geologist and they're like, yeah, so that's not right. That's wrong. And then explained it. And it was like, oh my gosh, okay, now that I hear this explanation, I understand that, this is wrong. And that's really, really helpful for me now after the fact, because again, I didn't even realize that I still believed that. They told it to me one day in Sunday school and then just like moved on real fast. And it was like, oh my gosh. But what helped me get away.
Oh, sorry.
Go no, please go ahead.
Oh no, what helped me get out of it? I know it's kind of cliche to say, but like it was this tipsy Christian woman video from Matt Dillahunty, and the logic when he dropped that logic bomb, when he's like, then your God is ultimately responsible for everything, and therefore people who go to hell he's responsible for, or something like that. And that's what actually got me to start, like, all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute. I gotta think about this. Like, that makes, and
there's different things. Sense. There's different things that are going to be more or less palatable for people in different settings, right? Again, if you're sitting at the bar and you're hanging out and you want to have one of these types of discussions, it may be better to be a bit more broad about it. It may be better to just be like, hey, do you know that actually a good couple of these have been proven hoaxes? Here's kind of how we did it. Here's some main examples. But there is also, because you mentioned like right at the beginning of your call, you mentioned about like, showing logical fallacies and so forth too. And again, the method that you particularly grasp onto the most isn't necessarily what's going to be the most effective for any individual person. And that's okay, right?
No, you're right there. Because like when you show logical fallacies, it's really surprising how quickly people get mad for like just showing them. Like, just showing them the problem.
Yeah, and it kind of depends on the approach too, right? I mean, unfortunately, Cameron, sometimes there are days when I'm a little bit more hungry or a little bit more tired than I want to be in this discussion, and somebody brings up about how the whole earth was flooded, and the first thought that comes to my mind is like, there's just literally no fucking way that that's true, man. I can't fucking believe that you
right, but it's flat, right? It's totally flat, like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, but
I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, I know. Captain,
by the way, thank you guys for your time. I got to get going. I love your gumball machine, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
That thing is totally awesome.
25 cents a pop. So yeah, have a good one, Cameron. Thanks so much.